This audiobook unveils why wealth obeys this energy and how aligning with it transforms your relationship with money forever. As you listen, you'll awaken to the truth that abundance is attracted by vibration, not pursuit. Enter the frequency and let wealth come to you as its natural reflection. Wealth obeys this energy. Introduction. Wealth moves through the universe as a living current, silent yet ever-present, flowing toward those who remember how to stand within its stream. This is not a secret taught through numbers, labor, or force, but a wisdom whispered through the ages to those who listen beyond appearances. Prosperity is not a possession to be seized. It is a state of harmony to be entered. You were never meant to chase abundance. From the moment you were formed, the seed of wealth was already placed within you. Every thought you think and every feeling you hold sends a signal outward, like a tone struck upon a cosmic instrument. The universe, governed by exact law, responds without hesitation. What you consistently radiate, you inevitably draw back to yourself. Wealth does not answer desire alone, nor does it bend to desperation or effort born of fear. It responds only to being. Like a polished mirror, it reflects the consciousness that stands before it. When you carry the inner knowing of sufficiency, when gratitude and trust become your natural posture, abundance sees itself in you and returns home. Your work is not struggle, but attunement. Just as a harp string must be tuned to sing, so must your inner world be aligned with the frequency of prosperity. This is the ancient law of attraction, like forever seeking its own likeness. When joy replaces worry and expectation replaces doubt, money moves toward you with effortless grace. All limitations you have known were formed in thought alone. They are shadows cast by misunderstanding, and shadows cannot survive illumination. As your awareness expands, the illusion of lack dissolves, revealing that wealth has never been absent, only waiting. You are not separate from abundance. You are its living expression, shaped for a moment into human form. When this truth awakens within you, wealth no longer feels distant or uncertain. It becomes a natural companion, flowing through your life as freely as breath, transforming your relationship with prosperity forever. Before we get into the book, comment, "I am ready," to affirm your intention to the universe. Part 1. The Awakening of Vibration. Chapter 1. The Spark Within That Calls Wealth. In a small valley between ancient hills, Daisy May tended her garden with worried hands. Each morning she would fret over every weed, scrutinizing each leaf for signs of decay. Despite her diligent efforts, her flowers remained modest and hesitant, as though mirroring her own anxiety. One dawn, exhausted from her constant concern, Daisy began humming an old melody her grandmother had taught her. As her voice lifted into song, something miraculous occurred. The flowers seemed to dance in the morning light, their petals unfurling with newfound vitality. Day after day, she discovered that when she sang while tending her garden, the blooms grew more abundant and vibrant than ever before. This truth extends beyond garden walls into the realm of prosperity. Your relationship with money flows according to the same natural law. It responds not to worry, but to the joy you cultivate. Like Daisy's flowers, Wealth thrives in the presence of light-hearted attention. Consider Chester Lee, whose small cafe stood at the corner of Main Street. Each time he handed change to a customer, he did so with genuine delight, treating each dollar as a bearer of good fortune. His cheerful spirit when tipping others created a circle of abundance. Soon his cafe overflowed with patrons drawn to the warmth of his generosity. Through these stories, the universe whispers its timeless truth. Wealth flows most freely through channels of joy. When you approach money with the lightness of a song rather than the heaviness of worry, you align with its natural current. Every dollar carries the energy of its last transaction. Let yours carry forward the vibration of grateful abundance. Ancient practice. When receiving or giving money, transform each transaction into a dance of mutual blessing. Feel the energy of abundance flowing through you like a stream of light. Whether paying a bill or accepting payment, let each exchange ripple with the joy of friends sharing gifts. This practice awakens the sacred circle of giving and receiving, where money becomes a current of blessing flowing through your life. Chapter 2. The Language Money Understands. As you walk this path of inner transformation, let the tale of Mildred Joy illuminate the way. Each morning before sunrise, she would sit at her modest desk, her ledger showing more empty spaces than entries. Yet instead of dwelling in lack, she began whispering words of abundance into the dawn. I am a magnet for prosperity. My gifts flow effortlessly to those who need them most. At first, nothing seemed to change, but Mildred persisted, letting her affirmations rise with the sun each day. Soon, her words began to carry a deeper resonance, not mere repetition, but a knowing that hummed in her very bones. Within weeks, her phone started ringing with new inquiries. Clients appeared as if summoned by her unwavering faith, drawn to the certainty she had cultivated in those quiet morning hours. The universe responds not to the words you speak, but to the vibration you maintain. Your conviction carries more weight than any carefully crafted phrase. When your inner knowing aligns with abundance, prosperity follows as naturally as dawn follows night. Consider the transformation of Franklin Bowe, whose relationship with money had soured into bitter resentment. Each month he would curse under his breath while paying his bills, seeing only depletion where there could be appreciation. His accounts reflected this discord, shrinking steadily until he discovered an ancient truth. The flow of money is sacred movement, worthy of blessing rather than curse. Franklin began a new practice. With each bill he paid, he offered gratitude. Thank you for the electricity that lights my home. Thank you for the water that sustains my life. He blessed each payment as evidence of his capacity to generate and circulate wealth. Within months, his business opportunities multiplied, as though currency itself recognized his shifted energy and rushed to participate in his appreciation. Money speaks its own language, the dialect of energy and intention. It responds not to desperate pleas or bitter complaints, but to the clear signal of gratitude. When you align yourself with this truth, wealth flows naturally toward your appreciative awareness. Ancient practice. As you exchange money today, whether giving or receiving, pause to hum a note of appreciation. Feel gratitude rising from your core, acknowledging the sacred flow of abundance. Let each transaction become a moment of blessing, reminding currency that you understand its true nature as joyful movement through life. This simple practice, maintained with sincerity, attunes your energy to the natural frequency of prosperity. Chapter 3. The Invisible Magnet You Already Carry. The truth is that every exchange of money speaks in the language of energy. When you understand this sacred dialogue, abundance flows with graceful ease. Let the story of Clara Bell reveal this timeless wisdom. In her small apartment overlooking the city, Clara Bell discovered a revolutionary approach to her financial life. Instead of seeing bills and expenses as burdens that drained her resources, she began to envision golden coins dancing around her in a playful circle of light. Rather than feeling the weight of financial pressure, she allowed herself to experience money as a joyful companion in life's grand dance. At first, this shift seemed merely imaginative, yet within days, unexpected refunds began appearing in her mailbox. A forgotten deposit returned, an overlooked tax credit surfaced, and even a billing error resolved in her favor. The universe had responded to her shifted energy with precise reflection. This reveals the foundational truth. Your beliefs are magnetic forces that attract their own reflection. The size of your financial flow is determined not by external circumstances, but by the magnitude of your self-worth. When you value yourself deeply, the universe matches that evaluation with material abundance. Edwin Ray's journey deepens this understanding. For years, he dismissed small financial gains as meaningless: a found dollar, an unexpected discount, a small tax refund. "These are nothing," he would say, "compared to what I need." Yet his fortunes transformed when an old sage shared a crucial insight. Every penny acknowledged with gratitude becomes a seed for greater abundance. From that day forward, Edwin celebrated each modest increase. A quarter found on his morning walk became a cause for appreciation. A small raise at work received heartfelt thanks. As he honored these smaller blessings, larger ones naturally followed. His income doubled within a year, yet he maintained his practice of acknowledging every increase, no matter its size. Your relationship with money reflects your relationship with the universe itself. When you greet each financial blessing with warm recognition, you signal your readiness for greater abundance. Every dollar arrives as a messenger of possibility, carrying the potential for multiplication when met with sincere appreciation. Ancient practice. Begin each day by honoring the smallest signs of financial increase in your life. Whether you find a penny on your path or receive an unexpected refund, celebrate it as a royal messenger of greater abundance to come. Express gratitude as if you were already holding the complete fortune in your hands. This practice aligns your energy with the natural flow of prosperity, allowing wealth to recognize itself in you and multiply accordingly. Let each moment of appreciation become a seed planted in the fertile soil of possibility. For in the eyes of the universe, it is not the size of the blessing that matters, but the magnitude of your gratitude that determines its growth. Chapter 4. The Mood That Opens Doors. Behold, how Lottie Jean unveiled another facet of this eternal truth. In a cramped office where most saw only monotony, she chose to sprinkle moments with laughter. Where others dragged through duties, she infused each task with lightness. Her spreadsheets became opportunities for playful precision, her filing system a treasure hunt of possibilities. As she transformed the atmosphere around her, the universe responded in kind. What began as a simple administrative position evolved into unexpected alignments. Clients, drawn to her radiant energy during brief interactions, began requesting her presence in meetings. Soon, partnership opportunities emerged as naturally as flowers turning toward sunlight. Her joy had become an invisible but potent business strategy, proving that emotional vibration shapes material reality. The wisdom crystallizes further through Walter Dean's tale. A talented craftsman, Walter approached each project with a heavy heart and critical eye. His work, though technically perfect, carried the weight of his brooding energy. Clients sensed the underlying frequency of discontent, and gradually, opportunities began to retreat like shadows from approaching storm clouds. It wasn't until Walter noticed this pattern that transformation became possible. Guided by inner wisdom, he made a simple yet powerful choice: to replace criticism with curiosity. Rather than seeing flaws, he began to explore possibilities. Instead of dreading client requests, he welcomed them as creative adventures. The shift in his energetic signature was subtle but profound. As his perspective brightened, new doors opened. Projects that once felt burdensome became pathways to expansion. His work began attracting clients who valued not just his craftsmanship, but the inspired energy he now brought to each creation. These stories illuminate an essential truth. Money flows not just toward skill or strategy, but toward the emotional climate you cultivate. It responds to the frequency of your being, not merely the actions of your doing. When you transmit signals of joy, curiosity, and inspired engagement, you become a natural attractor for abundance. Sacred practice. Throughout your day, pause to notice moments when your spirit feels weighted. In these instances, consciously shift your energy toward fascination and wonder. Ask yourself, what might be possible here that I haven't yet imagined? Feel how this subtle energetic lift creates space for unexpected abundance to flow. Remember, each time you choose to elevate your frequency, you send out invisible invitations to prosperity's most aligned expressions. This simple yet powerful practice opens channels through which the universe can pour its limitless abundance. Your emotional atmosphere becomes a beacon, calling forth opportunities that resonate with your highest vibration. Chapter 5. The Myth of Hard Work. In the heart of every spiritual truth lies a paradox that challenges your earthly understanding. Through the ages, this wisdom has whispered to those ready to hear. Effort alone cannot summon the bounty of the universe. Consider the tale of Hazel June, whose story mirrors your own quest. Each morning she arrived first at her office, departing last as stars emerged. Her calendar overflowed with meetings, her desk buried beneath ambitious projects. Yet, despite her relentless drive, abundance remained just beyond her grasp. The more frantically she reached, the further it seemed to drift. Until one pristine morning, exhausted from her endless striving, Hazel June surrendered. In that moment of release, a profound clarity washed over her. She realized that her worth did not depend on the mountain of tasks she conquered. As this truth settled into her bones, her actions shifted from desperate proving to inspired flowing. Within a month, her supervisor called her in, not for the promotion she had chased, but with an unexpected offer. A new position had manifested, one that doubled her salary while requiring half the effort. The universe had responded not to her toil, but to her alignment with deeper truth. This eternal principle reveals itself again through Percy Glenn's awakening. For years, he believed his value lay in constant motion, in endless demonstration of his capabilities. Each achievement became not a celebration, but a stepping stone to prove himself worthy of the next. Yet abundance eluded him until the day he chose peace over proof. As Percy Glenn learned to honor the quiet spaces between actions, to trust in his inherent worth, miracles began to unfold. Opportunities arose without strain. Resources flowed without struggle. His presence, no longer clouded by anxious effort, became a magnet for prosperity. These stories illuminate an ageless truth. When you release the need to earn abundance through exhaustion, you allow the universe's natural generosity to find you. Your worth is not measured in hours logged or tasks completed, but in your alignment with the infinite flow of all things. The law of attraction responds not to the volume of your labor, but to the vibration of your being. When your actions spring from peace rather than desperation, from clarity rather than compulsion, you enter the sacred space where manifestation accelerates effortlessly. Ancient practice. Find a quiet moment each day to embrace stillness. Sit in peaceful contemplation, allowing your breath to slow and your mind to quiet. In this space of sacred rest, witness how ideas and inspirations naturally arise. Trust that as you release the grip of constant doing, the universe's momentum builds invisibly around you. Let each moment of rest become an investment in your alignment with abundance's natural flow. Chapter 6. The Mirror. Principle of Money. In the heart of every spiritual truth lies a paradox that challenges your earthly understanding. Through the ages, this wisdom has whispered to those ready to hear. Effort alone cannot summon the bounty of the universe. Abigail Fay stood behind her shop counter day after day, watching potential customers pass by her window. "Another empty morning," she would sigh, unknowingly weaving a tapestry of lack with each utterance. Her words carried power, not in their meaning, but in their vibration. Each complaint became a brushstroke, painting her reality in shades of scarcity. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, does not judge your words. It simply echoes them back in physical form. Your emotional frequency becomes the template for your material experience, multiplied and manifested with perfect precision. When Abigail finally understood this principle, she began to shift her narrative. Where once she saw emptiness, she now acknowledged potential. "These quiet moments prepare my space for the perfect clients," she would say, feeling the truth of it in her bones. Within weeks, contracts began to appear, each one a reflection of her renewed faith. This ancient law reveals itself again through Leonard Roy, who mastered the art of gratitude in its smallest forms. Walking city streets, he would beam with genuine joy upon discovering a single penny, treating it as a cosmic wink from the universe. "Thank you for this sign of endless abundance," he would whisper, pocketing each coin as if it were gold. His appreciation for these modest findings soon attracted larger sums, until he found himself managing wealth beyond his former dreams. These are not mere coincidences, but demonstrations of an eternal principle. Your perception creates your reality with unwavering faithfulness. The universe does not distinguish between big and small. It responds to the energy behind your response to what is. When you resist what appears as lack, you unknowingly anchor yourself in its frequency. But when you transmute every financial moment into an opportunity for gratitude, you alter the very fabric of your relationship with abundance. This is not positive thinking. It is energetic alchemy of the highest order. Ancient practice. Sit quietly for a moment and observe your next financial transaction, whether giving or receiving. Notice your immediate emotional response. As you feel it arise, consciously choose to transform it into appreciation. If paying a bill triggers concern, immediately reframe, "I am grateful for the ability to circulate energy through this payment." If receiving seems insufficient, shift to, "This is evidence of the universe's constant flow toward me." Practice this emotional alchemy until it becomes your natural state of being. In doing so, you reprogram the very matrix of your financial reality. Remember, the universe mirrors back not what you say, but what you feel. Let every monetary moment become an opportunity to broadcast the frequency of abundance. Chapter 7. The Power of Allowing. In ancient scrolls, mystics spoke of a force more potent than will, the art of divine timing. You have encountered this truth before, though perhaps not recognized its whispers through the veil of your desires. Nancy Lou's jewelry store sparkled with potential, yet sales remained stagnant. Each morning she would outline elaborate manifestation schedules, declaring, "By next month I must double my income." The universe, hearing her demands, seemed to retreat further with each forceful timeline she imposed. Her energy, though determined, created resistance in the very field she wished to influence. Then one morning, exhausted from pushing against invisible walls, Nancy Lou released her grip on time itself. "The perfect moment will reveal itself," she whispered, and for the first time her breath came easily. Within days, a renowned collector wandered into her store, drawn by an inexplicable urge to visit. This chance encounter led to a collaboration that transformed her business naturally, effortlessly, in divine timing. The universe operates not by your calendar, but through an intricate dance of synchronicity. When you release the need to control when abundance arrives, you open the channels through which it flows most freely. Your role is not to force the river, but to prepare your vessel for its inevitable arrival. Marvin Joe's story mirrors this truth from another angle. As a business consultant, he prided himself on detailed 5-year plans and precise projections. His clients came steadily, but growth plateaued despite his strategic mastery. Each evening found him hunched over spreadsheets, calculating and recalculating paths to expansion. The turning point came during a power outage that forced him to abandon his planning for an entire week. In that imposed stillness, something shifted. Without the constant pressure to orchestrate outcomes, his energy softened. Clients began calling unprompted, speaking of inexplicable feelings that led them to seek his guidance. His practice flourished not through strategy, but through surrender. This timing that governs the flow of abundance follows patterns too vast for human minds to grasp. Like the tide that knows precisely when to rise, your prosperity has its own natural rhythm. Fighting this rhythm creates resistance. Flowing with it invites ease. Ancient practice of timeless trust. Find a quiet space where you can breathe deeply. Place one hand on your heart and imagine releasing all timelines around money into the vast wisdom of the universe. Softly repeat, "Divine timing guides all abundance. I trust the perfect unfolding of prosperity in my life." Let each breath dissolve urgency until you rest in poised expectancy, knowing the universe orchestrates with perfect precision. Practice this surrender daily, especially when impatience arises. Chapter 8. The Currency of Joy. Betty Ray lived in a modest cottage at the edge of town. Each morning, as sunlight spilled across her wooden floors, she approached her household tasks with an almost mystical reverence. While others rushed through their chores with resignation, Betty Ray transformed each moment into a celebration. As she swept her porch, she hummed ancient melodies. While folding laundry, she blessed each garment with gratitude. During dishwashing, she imagined the soap bubbles as tiny vessels of light, carrying her joy into the universe. At first, nothing seemed to change in her external world. Yet Betty Ray continued her practice, knowing that the frequency of joy needs no justification. Then, like dewdrops appearing on morning grass, unexpected abundance began materializing in her life. A forgotten investment yielded returns. A distant relative remembered her in their will. Clients sought her seamstress services, drawn by the radiant energy she had woven into her home. The universe operates through vibrational exchange. When you transmit frequencies of appreciation and delight, these same energies must return, multiplied by cosmic law. Your emotional signature becomes your currency in the spiritual marketplace. Joy, being the highest frequency, naturally attracts the highest returns. Harold Finn understood this truth only after years of struggling to sell his paintings. His art gallery sat empty despite his technical mastery, for he created each piece with the heavy energy of commercial necessity. One day, inspired by an inner whisper, he began gifting his favorite paintings to those whose eyes lit up upon seeing them. He attached no expectations to these gifts, simply delighting in the joy of sharing his heart's work. Word spread of the artist who painted with pure love. Soon collectors traveled from distant cities, not merely to buy his art, but to participate in the frequency of joy he had embedded in each brushstroke. His waiting list grew longer than he could fulfill. Yet Harold maintained his practice of occasional gifting, understanding that joy shared is joy multiplied. Your relationship with abundance transforms when you release the weight of necessity and embrace the lightness of pleasure. The universe responds not to your actions, but to the energy signature behind them. When you infuse any task with genuine delight, you activate a magnetic field that draws corresponding experiences into your life. Ancient practice. Select one daily activity, perhaps brewing morning tea, tending to plants, or arranging your space. Approach it as a sacred ritual, infusing each motion with deliberate pleasure. Notice how this elevated vibration ripples outward, attracting synchronicities and unexpected blessings. The secret lies not in the task itself, but in the frequency you maintain while performing it. Your joy becomes a beacon, calling forth matching energies from the infinite field of possibilities. Chapter 9. The Shift from Need to Overflow. Within an ancient temple, Pearl Ann knelt in desperate prayer, her voice trembling as she begged the universe for financial relief. Day after day she returned, each plea more urgent than the last, yet her circumstances remained unchanged. The temple keeper, observing her growing despair, shared a wisdom passed down through generations. The universe responds not to need, but to wholeness. Taking these words to heart, Pearl Ann transformed her approach. She began entering the temple with reverence rather than desperation, offering prayers of thanksgiving for the abundance already flowing through her life. Her gratitude embraced even the smallest blessings, the warmth of sunlight, the sweetness of water, the miracle of breath. Within weeks, opportunities emerged as naturally as flowers opening to morning light. A promotion materialized, investments bore fruit, and channels of prosperity opened effortlessly. This sacred truth echoes through the ages. When you declare absence through neediness, the universe mirrors that emptiness. But when you radiate fullness, abundance recognizes itself in you and multiplies. Consider the tale of Rufus J., whose small trading business teetered on the edge of collapse. Each evening, he would count his meager earnings with heavy sighs, focusing on what was missing. Then he encountered an old merchant who shared the secret of satisfied energy. Count your blessings before your coins. Rufus J. began listing his assets: loyal customers, knowledge gained, skills mastered, opportunities ahead. He started greeting each sale with genuine appreciation rather than anxiety about making more. The shift in his energy was palpable. The very next day, his regular customers brought friends. By week's end, his revenue had doubled. Nothing in his inventory had changed, only his inner stance toward what he already possessed. This wisdom reveals a profound truth. Abundance manifests not from external circumstances, but from internal fullness. When you vibrate at the frequency of having, rather than wanting, you become a natural attractor for more. The universe simply matches your energetic declaration. Sacred practice, the abundance meditation. Each morning, before the world stirs, sit in perfect stillness. Close your eyes and feel abundance as your natural state. Let gratitude fill every corner of your being for what is already present. Experience wealth as completed, not as something to achieve, but as something already achieved. Feel prosperity flowing through every aspect of your life until lack becomes a distant memory. Hold this feeling until your entire being resonates with the truth of your abundance. This is not pretense. It is alignment with the fundamental nature of the universe. The law remains constant. Abundance begins in consciousness before it manifests in circumstance. Your role is not to chase prosperity, but to embody it so completely that it cannot help but find expression in your physical reality. Chapter 10. The Energy Signature That Commands Respect. In a bustling marketplace, a skilled weaver named Evelyn Sue displayed her intricately crafted tapestries. Though each piece held countless hours of masterful artistry, she whispered prices so low they barely covered her materials. Perhaps if the price is modest enough, she thought, they will not turn away. Yet with each transaction, her customers haggled further, treating her works as common cloth rather than the treasures they were. The universe operates through an immutable law. Your perceived value becomes the energetic price tag you present to the world. When you discount your worth, you train the cosmic forces to depreciate your offerings. Like water finding its level, abundance flows to match the height of your self-regard. Your relationship with money mirrors your relationship with yourself. Each time you diminish your prices out of fear, You broadcast a frequency of unworthiness that the universe faithfully echoes. The cosmic ledger has no choice but to balance according to your energetic declarations. Consider the transformation of Travis Kent, whose paintings once gathered dust in a corner gallery. For years he priced his art apologetically, believing that modesty would attract buyers. But his masterpieces remained unsold until a wise mentor helped him see that his prices reflected a deeper spiritual arithmetic. Your art carries the value you assign it, the mentor shared. When you honor your work, others will honor it too. Travis began pricing his pieces not according to market fears, but in alignment with their true worth. He stood before each painting and felt its value in his bones. Soon collectors sought him out, willing to pay premium prices for works they now recognized as invaluable. This ancient truth remains. Wealth responds not to your outer price tags, but to your inner price consciousness. When you calibrate your worth from a place of authentic knowing, the universe adjusts all external measurements to match. The magnetic pull of prosperity strengthens or weakens according to your self-valuation. Each time you compromise your worth, you teach the universe to offer you less. But when you stand firm in your value, cosmic forces conspire to reflect that certainty back to you. Sacred practice. Before each exchange of energy, whether setting prices, negotiating contracts, or receiving payment, pause to align with your inherent worth. Stand tall, not in arrogance, but in quiet dignity. Place your hand upon your heart and silently affirm, I am complete, I am worthy, I am abundant. Let this knowing radiate through every cell until your very presence announces your value. The universe will respond in kind, rushing to mirror the royalty you recognize within. Part 2. The Flow of Unseen Partnership. Chapter 11. The Universe is Your Investor. In a small village where dreams often remained whispers, there lived a baker named Flora May, whose passion for creating delectable treats filled her modest kitchen. Each morning, as dawn painted the sky, she would craft pastries that made hearts sing, though she served them only to family and friends. Her deepest yearning to open her own bakery seemed as distant as the stars themselves, for her pockets held more dreams than coins. Yet within Flora, May dwelled an unwavering knowing. Instead of focusing on empty bank accounts, she began treating the universe as her devoted business partner. Each morning, she would set an extra chair at her table, serving a fresh pastry to this invisible ally. Thank you for our successful partnership, she would say with quiet certainty, as though the bakery already existed. The universe responds not to what your eyes see, but to what your heart knows with unshakable faith. When you claim partnership with infinite abundance, the cosmic forces mobilize to match your conviction. This truth stands eternal. What you accept as your silent partner becomes your manifest reality. Within a fortnight, a stranger tasted Flora May's pastries at a local gathering. This visitor, as it happened, represented a community bank seeking to invest in local businesses. Without Flora May even applying, an offer for a business loan arrived at her door, terms more favorable than she could have imagined. In the same village lived Gordon Lee, a merchant who openly mocked such mystical nonsense. Yet curiosity stirred within him after witnessing Flora May's unexplainable good fortune. Though skeptical, he decided to experiment. One evening, albeit with much sarcasm, he addressed the universe as his business partner. Fine then, "Show me what you can do," he challenged. The very next morning, a wealthy merchant from distant lands appeared at his shop, offering to sponsor an expansion of his trade routes. Gordon Lee's skepticism dissolved into wonder as he realized the power of unseen forces awaiting recognition. You see, the universe requires no convincing of your worthiness. It awaits only your acceptance of its perpetual partnership. When you step into this truth, treating universal forces as your most loyal business ally, the very fabric of reality reshapes to support your vision. The ancient practice of partnership. Find a quiet space each morning as the sun rises. Light a candle, symbolizing the eternal flame of abundance. Speak these words with the certainty of one who knows. Infinite Source, my trusted partner, I acknowledge our inseparable alliance. Together we create boundless prosperity. I thank you for your unwavering support in all my ventures. Through our partnership, all things are possible. Place your hand over your heart and feel the warmth of this cosmic connection. Let gratitude fill every cell of your being, knowing that you never walk alone in your journey toward abundance. Chapter 12. Listening to Whispered Guidance. In the depths of a bustling marketplace, Ida Pearl stood before her merchant's stall, surrounded by exotic spices and rare treasures. Though her mind whispered of moving her shop to the quieter eastern quarter, she clung to conventional wisdom. The main square brings more traffic, she reasoned, dismissing the gentle nudge within. As weeks passed, her once thriving trade diminished while construction blocked the square's entrance, leaving her wares untouched by passing eyes. The universe speaks through the quiet voice of intuition, that knowing which requires no proof and offers no explanation. When you silence the inner whisper in favor of logical calculations, you interrupt the flow of cosmic orchestration working on your behalf. Ida Pearl learned this truth when, after months of declining sales, she finally surrendered to her inner guidance. Moving her shop to the less crowded eastern quarter seemed to defy business sense, yet within days, merchants from distant lands discovered her new location, bringing contracts that exceeded her grandest visions. Your intuition serves as a direct line to universal intelligence. It speaks in gentle impressions, quiet hunches, and peaceful certainty. While the mind demands evidence before action, intuitive guidance often arrives without explanation, asking only for trust. Ralph Don experienced this when a persistent feeling drew him to visit a small cafe at an unusual hour. There, a chance conversation with a stranger led to an investment opportunity that transformed his modest savings into abundance. He had no logical reason to be there, only an inner knowing he chose to honor. The universe orchestrates circumstances beyond your conscious awareness. Every intuitive prompt carries the seed of opportunity. Every inner nudge leads toward expansion. When you trust these subtle signals, you align with forces already working in your favor. Money flows most freely when you follow the quiet compass within. Your inner guidance system never sleeps, constantly adjusting your course toward prosperity. Each time you honor an intuitive impression, you strengthen this connection to cosmic intelligence. The practice. As twilight approaches each day, find a moment of stillness. Review the subtle promptings you received and followed. Perhaps you felt drawn to take a different route home, call an old friend, or pause before making a decision. Acknowledge each instance you trusted your inner knowing. Express gratitude for this constant guidance, knowing that each honored intuition strengthens your partnership with universal intelligence. Let your last thoughts before sleep reaffirm your trust in this inner compass that steers you toward prosperity. Chapter 13. The Circle of Giving and Receiving. In a quaint hillside town, Lena Rose's antique shop held treasures that whispered stories of distant ages. Each morning she would meticulously count her earnings, carefully storing them away as though they might vanish with the morning mist. Her fingers would linger on each coin, her heart constricting with the fear that tomorrow might bring scarcity. Though customers praised her collection's beauty, the flow of prosperity began to slow, like a stream blocked by fallen leaves. The universe operates through eternal cycles of giving and receiving. Just as the ocean must release its waters to the sky before rain can fall, wealth must circulate to maintain its vitality. When you clutch too tightly to what flows through your hands, you unknowingly create resistance in the very current that sustains abundance. Within each act of generous release lies the seed of greater return. This truth reveals itself not through logical deduction, but through the courage to participate in life's natural rhythm. Money, like water, stagnates when held too long in one place. It requires movement to maintain its life-giving properties. Wallace Abe understood this principle only after facing his own resistance. As a skilled craftsman, he hesitated to share his expertise freely, believing his knowledge was his sole security. Yet one day, moved by an inner calling, he began teaching his craft to struggling youth without charge. His workshop became alive with the energy of shared wisdom, and soon corporate leaders noticed his impact. A prestigious position as a training director emerged, offering him triple his previous income. This ancient wisdom speaks clearly. Generosity acts as a key that unlocks greater channels of receiving. It's not about calculating returns or strategic giving. Such manipulation blocks the natural flow. Instead, true generosity springs from recognizing abundance as an endless cycle rather than a finite resource. The universe responds not to the amount given, but to the spirit in which it flows. When you release your gifts with joy, trust, and genuine desire to contribute, you align with the cosmic law of circulation. Each act of giving creates space for new abundance to enter, like breathing out naturally precedes the next inhalation. Practice. Offer sincere value today without calculation, trusting that cycles rebound with elegant precision. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. How Fear Blocks Frequency. In an ancient marketplace, Opal Kay stood before her fabric stall, paralyzed by indecision. A merchant had offered to buy her entire inventory at a premium, yet she hesitated, imagining countless ways the deal might sour. As she wavered, the merchant moved on, taking the golden opportunity with him. Day after day, Opal's pattern repeated. Each chance for expansion met the same fate, dissolving like morning dew in the harsh light of her fears. When fear enters your energy field, it creates a static that disrupts the natural flow of abundance. Like water avoiding a charged wire, prosperity steers clear of frequencies clouded by doubt. Your emotional current determines what can reach you through the universal web of possibility. Fear acts as a repellent, pushing away the very experiences you wish to attract. The universe responds not to your words or wishes, but to the vibration you maintain. When fear dominates your inner landscape, you broadcast a signal of danger, causing the natural flow of abundance to redirect itself. This redirection isn't punishment. It's simply the law of attraction working precisely as designed, matching your dominant frequency with experiences of the same nature. Yet this knowledge holds within it the seed of transformation. By understanding that fear is merely a low-frequency current, you gain the power to adjust your vibration deliberately. The key lies not in eliminating fear entirely, but in choosing which signal to amplify. Vernon Dale discovered this truth during a period of unemployment. Rather than dwelling in anxiety about his future, he began speaking his safety into existence. Each morning, he would declare, "I am protected. The universe guides me to perfect opportunities." He maintained this practice not from desperation, but from a place of quiet knowing. Within weeks, a position opened that seemed crafted for his unique talents. The job manifested not because he banished fear completely, but because he chose to amplify trust instead. His story reveals that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the choice to align with abundance despite fear's whispers. This tale mirrors your own journey with wealth. When you feel fear arising about money or opportunity, recognize it as temporary static in your energetic field. Your power lies not in fighting the fear, but in consciously choosing which frequency to strengthen. What appears as risk to the limited mind is often perfect alignment viewed through the lens of universal wisdom. Each time you choose trust over terror, you tune your personal frequency closer to abundance's natural wavelength. Practice. When fear approaches, acknowledge its presence without resistance. Then speak to it gently. "I understand your concern, but abundance is already scheduled for my life." Let this declaration be neither a plea nor a demand, but a peaceful reminder of what you know to be true. Continue your day with the calm expectancy of one who understands that prosperity follows aligned energy as naturally as dawn follows night. Chapter 15. The Identity of a Prosperous Soul. You've discovered a truth as old as time itself. Fear acts as a dense fog, obscuring the natural flow of abundance that surrounds you. When your thoughts spiral into worry, you create an energetic barrier that wealth cannot penetrate. This interference occurs at the most fundamental level of creation, where thoughts transform into reality. Consider this universal principle. Energy flows where attention goes. When fear grips your consciousness, it commands all of your creative power, manifesting precisely what you wish to avoid. Your apprehension becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, not because the universe conspires against you, but because you've inadvertently tuned yourself to that frequency. The story of Sadie Lou illuminates this principle perfectly. For years, she operated her small boutique from a place of timidity, always expecting the worst. Her fears painted pictures of failure, and the universe, being the faithful mirror it is, reflected those images back with precision. Then one morning, something shifted. Instead of rehearsing potential disasters, she began viewing herself as a magnetic force for prosperity. She walked differently, spoke differently, and most importantly, felt differently. Within days, her transformed energy drew new customers. Within weeks, opportunities for expansion appeared as if by magic. Her circumstances hadn't changed. She had changed, and the universe responded in kind. Horace Ben's tale reinforces this wisdom. His small corner shop struggled until he recognized that his self-image as unlucky was the true source of his misfortune. He began a practice of declaring his natural connection to abundance each morning before opening his doors. "I am one whom fortune favors," became his silent mantra. Soon, his shop hummed with vitality, attracting precisely the customers and opportunities that had seemed so elusive before. The message rings clear. Your identity creates an energetic signature that either welcomes or repels prosperity. When you vibrate at the frequency of abundance, you become a natural gathering point for wealth. Fear cannot coexist with this elevated state of being. Ancient practice. As the sun rises each morning, stand before a mirror. Take 3 deep breaths and allow your eyes to soften. See beyond your physical form to the radiant being you truly are. Speak these words with quiet authority. I am one whom abundance recognizes instantly. Wealth flows to me naturally and easily. Hold this vision for several moments, feeling the truth of it in every cell. Let this knowing guide your actions throughout the day. Through this practice, you reprogram your energetic signature, allowing prosperity to find its way home to you. Chapter 16. The Secret of Enjoying Before Having. In a modest apartment overlooking a city street, Nell Grace sat quietly each morning, envisioning herself draped in luxury. She didn't merely picture wealth. She felt it coursing through her being. Each dawn, she allowed waves of gratitude to wash over her for experiences that hadn't yet materialized in the physical world. Her heart swelled with appreciation for phantom invitations, imagined connections, and prosperity that existed only in her mind's eye. At first, nothing external changed. Yet Nell continued, understanding that the universe responds not to wishes, but to unwavering emotional certainty. She gave thanks for elegant soirees she hadn't attended, celebrated relationships she hadn't formed, and expressed joy for achievements still unseeded in reality. Her neighbors might have questioned her sanity had they known she spent her mornings thanking an invisible force for events that hadn't occurred. Then the first invitation arrived, a gala celebrating the city's finest artists. Within days, another followed, this time for an exclusive charity auction. Soon her mailbox overflowed with gilded cards requesting her presence at events she'd only dreamed of attending. The universe had matched her emotional frequency with precision. This ancient principle reveals itself. What you feel with consistency, you attract with certainty. Your emotions serve as a preview of coming attractions, broadcasting the frequency of your future into the present moment. When you sustain the feeling of an experience before its arrival, you tune yourself to its wavelength, allowing it to find you naturally. Howard Lee discovered this truth through playful experimentation. Running his small consulting firm, he began each morning imagining the excitement of working with dream clients. He didn't just visualize success, he embodied the enthusiasm of partnerships not yet formed. In meetings, potential clients found themselves inexplicably drawn to his energy, often commenting that his passion felt contagious. Within a month, Howard's practice transformed. New clients arrived speaking the very words he'd imagined in his morning rituals. His revenue doubled not through strategic planning, but through emotional alignment. He had stumbled upon what the ancients knew. That feeling precedes manifestation. The universe responds not to what you want, but to what you emanate. Your emotional state serves as a magnetic force, drawing to you circumstances that match its frequency. When you consistently hold the feeling of abundance, abundance has no choice but to materialize in your experience. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Begin to feel the joy and gratitude of your desired reality as if it were already complete. Let this feeling saturate every cell of your being. Experience the elation of your dreams fulfilled, the satisfaction of your goals achieved, the peace of abundance realized. Maintain this emotional state for several minutes, allowing it to become your natural vibration. Practice this daily, understanding that your consistent feeling states are shaping tomorrow's reality. The universe will have no choice but to match your inner experience with outer circumstance. Remember, you are not hoping for abundance. You are rehearsing its inevitable arrival. Your emotions are the architects of your future, designing reality before it manifests in physical form. Chapter 17. The Symphony of Focus. Once, in a bustling marketplace, Ruby Jo tended her small stall of hand-woven textiles. Her mind darted between countless concerns: the rising cost of materials, competition from larger vendors, her daughter's education, and mounting bills. With each scattered thought, her energy dispersed like leaves in autumn wind, and her sales dwindled accordingly. The universe speaks in clear frequencies, responding to the strongest signal you transmit. When your attention fragments across multiple channels of worry, the power of your creative force diminishes. Like sunlight passing through a clouded lens, scattered focus produces only weak warmth. But when concentrated through a magnifying glass, that same light ignites. This eternal truth revealed itself through Virgil Tom, whose small pottery workshop stood at the edge of town. While others diversified frantically, Virgil held one vision with unwavering joy, crafting vessels that captured the essence of dawn's first light. He immersed himself in this single purpose, allowing all other concerns to fade into soft background noise. As his attention crystallized, the universe began orchestrating in his favor. Art collectors started appearing as if summoned. Galleries requested exclusive pieces. His singular devotion had become a beacon, drawing precisely the opportunities that aligned with his heart's pure song. These contrasting tales illuminate a fundamental law of manifestation. Your point of focus becomes your point of power. When you scatter your creative energy across multiple channels of concern, you dilute the potency of your attractive force. But when you gather your attention like precious drops of water into a single clear pool, you create a magnetic field of undeniable strength. The quality of your focus determines the clarity of your creation. Each thought carries a specific vibration, and when you concentrate consistently on one desired outcome with genuine joy, you amplify its frequency until it becomes impossible for the universe to ignore. Ancient practice. Select one desire that brings you genuine joy. Find a quiet moment at sunrise or sunset. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Now envision this single wish with such clarity that it fills your entire being. Let all other thoughts gently drift away. Hold this focus until you feel its resonance humming through your body. Maintain this concentrated appreciation for several minutes, allowing it to become the dominant frequency of your energy field. Practice this daily, understanding that sustained attention is the conductor's wand that orchestrates manifestation. Chapter 18. The Vibration of Words. In a bustling marketplace, a gentle melody caught the attention of passers-by. At one stall, Ruby Jo fretted over her hand-woven textiles, her thoughts scattered like autumn leaves in the wind. Her mind darted between rising material costs, fierce competition, her daughter's education, and mounting bills. With each dispersed worry, her vital energy fragmented further, and her sails ebbed like a retreating tide. The universe responds only to the clearest frequencies you transmit. When attention splinters across multiple channels, the signal weakens until manifestation can no longer find its mark. Your focus acts as the conductor's baton, directing the orchestra of creation. Each thought carries a specific vibration, and when these vibrations align in harmony, they create a symphony powerful enough to reshape reality. Through countless generations, masters have taught that energy flows where attention goes. Yet in modern times, this wisdom grows ever more crucial as distractions multiply. Your prosperity requires not just positive thinking, but concentrated awareness, a laser beam of intentional focus that cuts through the fog of scattered concerns. In the ways of ancient wisdom, Tessie Lynn discovered this truth through her own transformation. She had always described her situation using words like broken and poor, until one day she recognized the vibrational weight of these phrases. With determination, she began crafting a new vocabulary of abundance. Where once she said, "I can't afford it," she now declared, "I am open to creative solutions." Her shift in language created ripples through the fabric of her reality, drawing unexpected opportunities into her path. The teachings whisper that words are not mere symbols, but carriers of energy, each one broadcasting a specific frequency into the universe. Your language shapes the field of possibilities around you, either expanding or contracting your access to abundance. Melvin Ray witnessed this principle in action through his import business, as he consciously elevated his speech patterns to reflect prosperity consciousness. He noticed more affluent connections naturally gravitating toward him. His network expanded not through aggressive networking, but through the magnetic pull of aligned vibration. Take this truth into your heart. The words you choose act as cosmic instructions, programming the universe's response to your presence. When you speak of lack, you tune your field to that frequency. When you voice abundance, you calibrate your energy to match that reality. Practice. Choose 1 hour each day to observe your words with unwavering awareness. Replace any limiting language with expressions that hum with promise and possibility. Rather than saying, "I hope," declare, "I know." Instead of "I'll try," state, "I am." Watch as your refined vocabulary reshapes the energy field around you, drawing forth circumstances that match your elevated frequency. Chapter 19. The Rest Principle. An old tale speaks of a woman named Cora D., who lived at the edge of a thriving merchant town. While others rushed frantically through their days, she cultivated a different approach to manifesting her desires. After each morning's visualization practice, she would settle into peaceful slumber, treating rest as a divine appointment with the universe. What she discovered transformed her life. Within weeks of adopting this practice, opportunities began flowing to her with effortless grace. Her small healing practice expanded without striving, as though invisible hands were arranging success while she rested. Her prosperity multiplied in direct proportion to her willingness to pause and receive. The universe operates through the law of least resistance. When you release the grip of constant doing, you allow the infinite intelligence to work on your behalf. Like a garden that grows most vigorously during the quiet of night, your manifestations take root most powerfully in moments of sacred rest. Consider the contrasting tale of Elton J., a talented craftsman who believed ceaseless activity was the only path to abundance. He worked from dawn until dusk, pushing himself beyond exhaustion. Yet the more he strained, the more his creative flow diminished. His workshop, once filled with inspired designs, became heavy with the energy of depletion. It was only when illness forced him to rest that Elton discovered the hidden alchemy of pause. During his recovery, as he learned to honor periods of stillness, his work transformed. Ideas began arriving fully formed, as though downloaded during his moments of repose. His creations, born from refreshed energy, attracted clients who valued quality over quantity. Your relationship with rest reveals your trust in universal timing. Each time you choose to pause, you demonstrate faith in the unseen orchestration of your good. Like a musician who knows the power of silence between notes, you understand that gaps in activity are not empty. They are pregnant with potential. The universe delights in working through your relaxed awareness. When you release the need to control every moment, you open channels for grace to enter. Rest is not a pause in creation. It is creation's deepest current. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space and recline comfortably. Let your breath become soft and natural. As you drift between wakefulness and sleep, whisper inwardly, "I trust the universe to work while I rest." Allow yourself to float in this peaceful surrender for 20 minutes, knowing that in your stillness, abundance grows. Chapter 20. The Evidence of Faith. In a small coastal village, Joyce May tended a modest shop that barely covered expenses. Yet each morning, she squared her shoulders and moved through her day as though success already embraced her. She greeted each customer as an honored guest, wrapped each humble purchase as a precious gift, and recorded each sale with gracious ceremony, not as one hoping for prosperity, but as one already dwelling in its midst. Though her ledger showed no change, she maintained this practice with unwavering dedication. She spoke of her shop as though it flourished, visualized expansion with calm certainty, and treated her simple space as though it were already the emporium she envisioned. To outside eyes, nothing had shifted, yet within her consciousness, abundance had already taken root. When you act from a place of inner knowing, the outer world must eventually conform to match your energy. Faith is not mere wishful thinking. It is a force that shapes reality. Each time you choose to live from the end result, you transmit a frequency that the universe cannot help but answer. The story of Leroy Sid mirrors this truth with striking clarity. For 3 years, his innovative designs met rejection after rejection. Yet he continued signing his correspondence. Leroy Sid, distinguished artisan, maintained a meticulously organized calendar for future clients, and prepared each morning as though his workshop would overflow with commissions. Month after month, he sustained this unwavering posture despite empty halls and silent phones. While others questioned his sanity, he simply smiled and continued polishing his tools, arranging his workspace and refining his craft, behaving in every way as though success was not a question of if, but when. Then one morning, Without warning, 3 major galleries requested his work simultaneously. The universe had been silently gathering momentum behind the scenes, weaving together connections that would match his sustained energy of certainty. The law remains constant. What you demonstrate consistently in consciousness must eventually materialize in form. Faith is not a passive state, but an active force. It is the language of creation itself, speaking through your actions, your posture, your tone of voice, and your daily choices. When you proceed as though your desires are already fulfilled, you create an energetic template that reality rushes to fill. Your confident expectation becomes a mold into which substance flows. The universe responds not to what you want or wish for, but to what you embody and demonstrate. Sacred practice. Begin each day by taking 3 deliberate actions that reflect your desired reality. Walk, speak, and conduct your affairs as though abundance already surrounds you. When paying bills, move with the grace of one who manages great wealth. When making decisions, adopt the perspective of one whose prosperity is assured. Hold this posture consistently until it becomes your natural way of being. For the universe recognizes and rewards not what you claim to believe, but what you consistently demonstrate through action. Part 3, The Mastery of Flow. Chapter 21. The Dance of Detachment. In the bustling marketplace, Patsy Ann arranged her handcrafted wares each morning, her fingers trembling with anticipation of sales. Each potential customer who passed without purchasing left her spirit deflated, her energy consumed by the desperate need for success. Days stretched into weeks of counting coins and calculating losses, until exhaustion forced her to surrender. One morning, something within her shifted. Instead of clutching at outcomes, she simply created with joy and displayed her work with peaceful detachment. To her amazement, customers began lingering at her stall, drawn by an invisible force she had never noticed before. Orders flowed in without effort, and unexpected opportunities emerged as though they had been waiting for her to release her grip on control. The universe responds not to demand, but to the magnetic power of trust. When you cease to chase, you activate an ancient law that brings desires to your door with elegant precision. Your role is not to orchestrate every detail, but to maintain the frequency of knowing while releasing attachment to form and timing. Consider Nelson Luke, who had set rigid deadlines for his business expansion. Each self-imposed timeline became a source of tension until he discovered the power of surrender. Upon releasing his mental schedule, he found circumstances rearranging themselves with an intelligence far beyond his planning. Opportunities accelerated, arriving through unexpected channels and exceeding his original vision. This wisdom echoes through the ages. That which you pursue often retreats, while that which you release returns multiplied. Your task is not to force manifestation, but to create the space in which it can naturally occur. Like a flower opening to sunlight, abundance unfolds according to its own divine timing. When you release your grip on how and when your desires must manifest, you allow the universe to orchestrate circumstances beyond your limited perspective. This is not passive waiting, but active trust, a profound knowing that what is meant for you cannot miss you. Ancient practice. Find a quiet moment each day to practice the art of sacred release. Sit in stillness and bring to mind your deepest desires. Feel their essence while consciously loosening any mental tension around their fulfillment. Breathe deeply and affirm, I release the need to control outcomes, knowing that what is mine always finds its way. My role is to radiate certainty while the universe handles details. Let each exhale carry away urgency until you rest in the peace of knowing. Chapter 22. The Art of Inner Celebration. The universe responds not to demand but to the magnetic power of trust. When you cease to chase, you activate an ancient law, the law of divine timing that orchestrates all things perfectly. Consider how Dorothy Kay transformed her small corner store through this wisdom. Each evening, she took time to celebrate every transaction, whether it brought pennies or pounds. A child's purchase of candy received the same radiant appreciation as a wealthy customer's bulk order. "Thank you, blessed universe," she would whisper, placing each coin in her register with tender care. This practice seemed peculiar to others at first, yet something extraordinary began to unfold. Her gratitude created a field of joy that attracted more reasons for celebration. Sales doubled, then tripled. Customers reported feeling inexplicably uplifted in her shop, though they couldn't explain why. The secret lay not in her sales strategy, but in her unwavering appreciation. Dorothy had discovered that when you honor what exists now, you open the channel for more to flow. She never knew which celebration would trigger the next wave of abundance, so she celebrated them all. Chester Roy witnessed this transformation and applied it in his own unique way. He began hosting weekly gratitude gatherings in his modest home, where neighbors shared stories of the week's blessings. What began as intimate gatherings of 3 or 4 grew into joyful celebrations that filled his living room. As these gatherings continued, a curious phenomenon swept through the neighborhood. One participant received an unexpected inheritance. Another found their dream job. Chester himself discovered that his small investments began yielding unprecedented returns. The collective appreciation had amplified each individual's frequency of receiving. Your relationship with abundance flourishes not through force, but through celebration. When you release the weight of worry and embrace the lightness of appreciation, you align with the natural flow of prosperity. Each moment of gratitude sends ripples through the universal field, attracting more experiences worthy of celebration. The universe seeks joy as its primary partner in creation. When you make festivity your natural response to life, reality has no choice but to match your celebration with circumstances that warrant it. Ancient practice. Begin each day by celebrating something that hasn't yet manifested as if it already has. Dance in gratitude for the promotion still in process. Sing in joy for the abundance still on its way. Write thank you notes for blessings still unseen. Your celebration becomes the magnetic force that draws these experiences into physical form. The universe cannot help but respond to the frequency of your joy. Chapter 23. The Infinite Source Behind Dollars. In a small office building in the heart of the city, Mabel Sue sat at her desk, anxiously watching her employer pace the corridors. For years, she had placed her faith in that single source, her monthly paycheck, her annual bonus, her occasional raise. Each time money flowed, she attributed it solely to the company's generosity. One evening, while organizing client files, she discovered an ancient text that spoke of universal supply. The words resonated deep within her soul. Look not to man, but to the infinite source that flows through all channels. That night, she began blessing the true source of her abundance rather than fixating on her employer's decisions. Within days, a miracle unfolded. A contract appeared from an unexpected quarter. A client she had helped years ago remembered her kindness and sought her expertise for a private project. The compensation exceeded her annual salary, yet it came through a channel she had never anticipated. The universe operates through infinite pathways, unrestricted by human planning or visible means. Your supply flows not from employers, clients, investments, or any earthly source. These are merely channels through which universal energy expresses itself. When you recognize this truth, you free yourself from the limitation of depending on specific outcomes or particular people. Fred Lee embodied this understanding perfectly. After losing his position at a prestigious firm, he maintained an unwavering connection to Source. The universe's wealth flows through countless streams, he would say, blessing each unexpected opportunity. A freelance project here, a consulting offer there, abundance found him through diverse channels, often more generously than his former salary. He discovered that job status, market conditions, or economic climates held no power over his prosperity. His trust remained anchored in the invisible but omnipresent source that orchestrated all supply. Money flowed to him through surprising avenues: a chance meeting at a coffee shop, a wrong number that led to a business partnership, a delayed flight that connected him with his biggest client. The material world may present countless faces of supply: employers, customers, investments, inheritances. But these are masks worn by the one source that never fails. When you shift your dependence from outer appearances to inner certainty, you align with the infinite flow that knows no bounds. Your task is not to determine how abundance will reach you, but to maintain unwavering faith in its constant presence. The universe delights in surprising you with unexpected channels of supply, often more magnificent than your limited planning could devise. Sacred practice. Each time you receive money, pause and acknowledge its true origin. Whether it comes through a paycheck, a gift, or a sudden windfall, silently affirm, "I thank the infinite source flowing through this channel. All supply comes from the universal treasury, endless and abundant." Chapter 24. The Secret Movement of Gratitude. In the quiet hours before dawn, an ancient truth whispers through the ages. All abundance flows from one infinite well. Through countless generations, those who understood this mystery have witnessed the endless stream of prosperity that transcends mortal limitations. In a modest apartment overlooking the city, Beulah Fay discovered this timeless secret. Each night, she would light a single candle and write heartfelt notes of gratitude, not just for what she had received, but for the invisible source from which all blessings flow. As she penned her thanks, remarkable coincidences began to unfold. A forgotten investment doubled unexpectedly. A distant relative remembered her in their will. Opportunities appeared as if orchestrated by an unseen hand. The universe speaks in the language of energy, and gratitude is its sweetest dialect. When you recognize that every dollar, every coin, every resource stems from an infinite wellspring rather than finite channels, you open yourself to limitless possibility. Your employer, your clients, your investments, These are merely conduits through which abundance flows, not the source itself. Arthur Ben embodied this wisdom when he faced mounting bills with unwavering faith. Instead of anxiety, he chose to write thank you notes for bills already paid, before having the means to pay them. He would sit at his kitchen table each morning, expressing genuine gratitude for the universe's perfect provision. Within weeks, unexpected discounts appeared on his statements. A tax refund arrived unexpectedly. A client paid an outstanding invoice early with a bonus. You see, when you shift your gaze from limited human sources to the infinite source, you align with the very power that creates worlds. Money is merely energy made visible, a symbol of the abundant flow that never ceases. Just as a river doesn't question its source, you need not question the means through which your good will arrive. The universe operates through universal law. Appreciation magnetizes more to appreciate. Each grateful thought strengthens your connection to the infinite supply. Every thank you note creates a vibrational bridge over which more blessings can travel. Remember, the visible world of form is simply the final stage of manifestation. Before every physical expression of wealth, there exists an invisible current of infinite potential. Your role is not to direct the how, but to remain steadfast in knowing that Source knows no limitation. Practice. Each evening, find a quiet moment to whisper your gratitude. Thank the infinite Source for what appears to be still pending, feeling it as already complete in the invisible realm. Let your appreciation flow freely, knowing that your thanks is not a mere wish, but a recognition of what is already yours in the eternal now. Continue this practice until what you've thanked for manifests in physical form, understanding that your gratitude has already set the wheels of creation in motion. Chapter 25. The Wealth of Well-Being. Once, in a bustling city, Hattie Lou lived and breathed the pursuit of wealth. Her office became her sanctuary, her desk her altar. She skipped meals, ignored rest, and pushed aside the whispers of her body begging for attention. While her bank account swelled, her vitality diminished. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, spoke through her body's protests until she could no longer ignore its message. As she lay in her hospital bed, the truth crystallized with stark clarity. Her physical vessel had become a blocked channel for abundance. The flow of prosperity requires a clear passage, and her neglected well-being had created a dam in the stream of universal energy. When you treat your body as an afterthought, you resist the very current that carries abundance. Your physical form serves as the sacred instrument through which all manifestation flows. Just as a withered plant cannot bear fruit, a depleted body cannot fully receive the universe's gifts. The eternal law reveals itself. Wealth and wellness dance as one. Your vitality generates the magnetic field that draws prosperity near. Each cell in your body holds the potential to amplify or diminish your attractive force in the universal field of abundance. Floyd Sam understood this truth. After years of creative drought, he began honoring his body's wisdom. He walked in nature, prepared nourishing meals, and allowed himself periods of rest. As his energy renewed, creative inspirations flooded his consciousness. His art gallery, once struggling, transformed into a haven of innovation and prosperity. His canvas became alive with vitality that collectors could feel and sought to possess. Your body speaks the language of abundance through sensation. When you feel vital, you broadcast a frequency that money recognizes as its natural home. The universe seeks joy as its point of expression, and a well-nurtured body provides the perfect vessel for that joy to manifest as material abundance. Sacred practice. Begin each morning by placing your hands on your heart, acknowledging your body as a temple of prosperity. Choose one act of physical nurturing, whether it be mindful breathing, gentle movement, or savoring wholesome food. As you perform this act, feel yourself becoming a more refined instrument for receiving abundance. Remember, every moment spent in loving self-care magnetically draws wealth closer to your experience. Your physical well-being is not separate from your financial flourishing. They are twin expressions of the same life force. When you honor one, you elevate both. The path to prosperity flows through the gateway of vibrant health, and the universe delights in blessing those who recognize this truth. Chapter 26. The Compassion Frequency. In a small coastal town, Irene May ran a modest flower shop, carrying the weight of an unpaid loan that had soured a friendship years before. Each morning as she arranged her blooms, thoughts of that debt cast shadows across her spirit. The sum itself had grown small with time, yet its presence loomed large in her heart. One quiet afternoon, while wrapping roses in delicate paper, wisdom whispered through her soul. She realized the debt she carried was costing far more in blocked energy than the money itself. In that moment of clarity, she penned a note releasing her former friend from all obligation, financial and emotional. The universe responds to such acts of grace with swift precision. Within days, an unexpected bonus arrived from a corporate client, triple the amount she had forgiven. More significantly, the tightness that had gripped her chest whenever thoughts of money arose began to dissolve. The flow of abundance follows the law of energetic clarity. When you hold on to past financial wounds, you create resistance in the very channel through which prosperity wishes to flow. Each grudge becomes a dam, each resentment a barrier to receiving. This truth became evident in the life of Clyde John, whose antique restoration business had plateaued despite his masterful craftsmanship. His ledger bore the marks of clients who had underpaid or disappeared without payment, and he carried these stories like heavy stones in his pocket. Each new customer interaction was colored by past disappointments until he learned to release these burdens. Through conscious practice, he began blessing those who had wronged him. With each blessing, his energy lightened, and soon customers who truly valued his work began appearing at his door. Projects that had stalled suddenly completed themselves, bringing unexpected rewards. Money flows most freely through channels cleared of emotional debris. When you release others from your judgments about their financial choices or actions, you simultaneously free yourself to receive greater abundance. The universe cannot pour new wine into vessels filled with old grievances. The frequency of forgiveness vibrates at the same level as abundance itself. When you choose to release financial resentments, you align with the natural state of prosperity. Each act of letting go creates space for new blessings to enter. Ancient practice for prosperity. Alignment. Find a quiet moment at sunset. Hold in your mind someone who still owes you, whether money, recognition, or opportunity. Breathe deeply and say, "I release you completely. I dissolve all energetic contracts between us." I free us both to prosper in new ways. Feel the lightness that follows, knowing that space has been created for fresh abundance to flow. Chapter 27. The Expansion Principle. High in the mountains lived a weaver named Myrtle Lee, whose loom sat idle as she watched others' tapestries gain fame at market. Yet something stirred within her spirit one dawn as she witnessed a fellow artisan receive gold for their work. Instead of turning away, she allowed genuine delight to fill her heart at their success. With each sincere celebration of another's triumph, an invisible thread began weaving abundance into her own life's fabric. The universe speaks in the language of energy, and your relationship with others' prosperity directly influences your own. When you genuinely rejoice in the success of those around you, you align with the natural flow of abundance that knows no boundaries between souls. This ancient truth reveals that wealth multiplies through shared celebration rather than solitary pursuit. Notice how nature itself demonstrates this principle. When one flower blooms, it releases pollen that helps others flourish. The garden grows more beautiful, not through competition, but through cooperative expansion. Your joy in others' advancement acts as spiritual pollen, fertilizing the soil of your own prosperity. The vibration of authentic celebration for others' success sends ripples through the universal field of abundance. These ripples return as waves of opportunity in your own experience. This is not mere metaphor, but cosmic law. The energy you extend toward others' good fortune determines how readily prosperity flows into your life. Vernon Ray, a humble musician, discovered this truth while playing in village squares. Rather than envying more successful performers, he began applauding their artistry with genuine appreciation. Soon he noticed that audiences grew larger for his own performances, as if his heartfelt recognition of others' gifts had awakened similar recognition for his talents. This mirrors an eternal principle. What you authentically celebrate in others becomes magnetized in your own experience. The universe does not recognize separation between souls. Your joy in another's abundance is interpreted as readiness for your own. When you free yourself from the illusion of competition and embrace the truth of collective prosperity, you open channels for wealth to flow more freely in all directions. The practice. Make it your sacred ritual to pause 3 times each day and offer genuine celebration for evidence of abundance you witness in others' lives. Feel the joy of their success as if it were your own, knowing that your sincere delight creates an energetic invitation for similar blessings to enter your experience. With each celebration, affirm silently, "Your prosperity is my prosperity, for we are all threads in the same magnificent tapestry of abundance." Chapter 28. The Signature of Purpose. In a sunlit valley where cherry blossoms danced on gentle winds, a craftswoman named Lula Fay sat surrounded by half-finished projects that brought her no joy. Her shelves overflowed with intricate carvings that spoke of skill, but whispered nothing of soul. Though her hands moved with precision, her heart remained unstirred by the wooden figures she created merely to sell. One morning, as dawn painted the sky in hues of promise, Lula Fay gathered her lifeless creations and carried them to the river's edge. There, she released each piece into the flowing waters, watching as they drifted away like autumn leaves. In their place, she began carving toys for the village children, infusing each piece with the warmth of purpose. Soon, Word spread of the magical toys that seemed to carry healing in their very grain. Parents spoke of children finding comfort in her wooden animals during stormy nights, and teachers told tales of how her puzzle boxes awakened curiosity in quiet minds. As Lula Fay aligned her work with her heart's true calling, mysterious channels of abundance began to open. Merchants from distant lands sought her creations, offering gold not just for the craftsmanship but for the love woven into every piece. Her workshop, once a place of hollow industry, transformed into a sanctuary of joyful service. The universe responds not to the motion of your hands alone, but to the melody of your heart's intention. When you release activities that echo empty in your spirit, you create space for purpose to flourish. Like water finding its natural course, abundance flows most freely through channels carved by authentic service. Consider the tale of Elmer Joe, who spent years building elaborate mechanical devices solely for profit. His workshop hummed with activity, yet his wealth remained as mechanical as his creations. One winter evening, while watching children struggle to carry water from the village well, inspiration struck. He turned his talents to designing simple pumps that could ease their daily burden. As he refocused his genius toward lightening others' loads, his innovations began attracting attention from far beyond the village borders. Soon, his devices brought fresh water to drought-stricken regions, and with each installation, his prosperity multiplied beyond his grandest calculations. The law of expansion operates through the currency of meaning. When you align your actions with genuine service, you tap into the universe's natural abundance. Money follows meaning, as surely as rivers flow to the sea. Your greatest wealth lies not in what you can gather, but in what you can give with an open heart. This sacred truth whispers through every success that endures. Fortune favors those who create value from the heart's pure intention. When you release activities that drain your spirit and embrace those that amplify your soul's purpose, you align with the cosmic current of prosperity. Practice. Sit in peaceful reflection each morning and place your hand upon your heart. As you contemplate each task or project before you, ask quietly, does this serve joy? Does this lighten the world's burden? Let your inner wisdom guide your choices and watch as resources gather naturally around endeavors that ring true with purpose. Chapter 29. The Continuum of Abundance. In a seaside town where waves rolled endlessly upon the shore, Nora D. stood atop her newly acquired hilltop mansion. Her heart swelled with pride at reaching what she believed to be the pinnacle of success. Yet in the stillness of that moment, a strange emptiness echoed through her achievement. The universal truth whispers to you now, as it did to Nora. Success is not a mountain peak to conquer, but a river that must flow continuously. When you imagine wealth as a destination, you create resistance to its natural movement. The cosmic dance of abundance requires perpetual motion, like the ocean's eternal tide. Just as water stagnates when it ceases to move, prosperity diminishes when you cease to maintain its energetic circulation. Your relationship with wealth demands daily renewal, a conscious choice to remain in harmony with its flowing nature. Each morning brings an opportunity to realign with this current, each evening a chance to release resistance. Ralph J. understood this principle deeply. While others celebrated their victories and grew complacent, he maintained a practice of daily gratitude. Even as his business flourished, he never saw success as complete, but as an ongoing conversation with the universe. Each evening he would sit in his garden, acknowledging the day's blessings with the same enthusiasm he had shown when his journey began. The universe responds not to occasional bursts of alignment, but to sustained frequencies. Your prosperity consciousness must be tended like a garden, not planted once and forgotten, but nurtured continuously through changing seasons. When you maintain your energetic signature in harmony with abundance, wealth flows as naturally as breath. Remember, the flow of abundance follows the law of perpetual motion. Your task is not to reach a final destination, but to remain in graceful dance with this eternal current. Let go of the illusion that success is a peak to summit. Instead, become like the river that knows its strength lies in constant movement. Practice. As twilight approaches each day, find a quiet moment to reset your energy. Place your hands over your heart and whisper 3 things you appreciate about the day's flow of abundance, whether great or small. Feel gratitude washing through you like gentle waves, clearing any resistance gathered during the day. This simple ritual maintains your connection to the eternal current of prosperity while you sleep, ensuring smooth flow when dawn arrives. Chapter 30. The Secret That Ends All Chasing. In a quiet garden, where flowers bloomed in endless cycles, Viola Ray tended her roses without a thought of gain. For years, she had pursued wealth like a hunter chasing shadows, always finding it just beyond her grasp. Now, as she hummed softly to her plants, an unexpected truth blossomed in her awareness. The universe speaks through patterns, and its message rings clear. Abundance flows not toward those who chase, but toward those who embody its nature. Every petal that unfolds follows an inner rhythm, never forcing its emergence. In the same way, your relationship with prosperity must mirror this natural unfoldment. When you release the desperate pursuit of wealth, you activate a profound magnetic force. This force stems not from what you do, but from who you are. Like Viola Ray discovered among her roses, the moment you settle into self-acceptance, the universe recognizes its own reflection in you. Money, being energy in motion, naturally gravitates toward those who radiate wholeness rather than need. Henry Liu exemplified this wisdom through his art gallery. Unlike others who measured success solely in sales, he created spaces of pure joy. His exhibitions became celebrations of life's beauty, with no underlying agenda of profit. Yet precisely because he honored the inherent value of experience, collectors and investors found themselves inexplicably drawn to his space. Their wallets opened not because he pursued them, but because they wished to participate in the authentic delight he cultivated. The teaching reveals itself. You are not separate from abundance. You are abundance expressing itself in human form. When you try to attract prosperity, you unknowingly push it away by assuming it exists outside of you. The secret lies in recognizing that wealth, like oxygen, surrounds you always. Your task is not to create it, but to align with its ever-present nature. Consider how water flows. It does not strain or struggle. It simply moves in harmony with its own nature. Similarly, financial flow responds not to force, but to frequency. When you vibrate at the level of completion, life has no choice but to mirror that completion back to you in all forms, including material abundance. Ancient practice. As the sun rises each morning, stand in quiet recognition of your inherent completeness. Place one hand on your heart and whisper, "I am the fullness I seek." All external abundance simply confirms what I already am. Allow this truth to settle into your cells before engaging with the day's activities. The universe will align its infinite resources to match your unwavering knowing. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. You have arrived not at an ending, but at coherence. What was once fragmented, desire, effort, worth, and reward, now stands unified within awareness. Wealth is no longer external proof of success, but an internal state made visible. When attention aligns with intention, movement becomes effortless and outcomes feel inevitable rather than earned. This is the quiet power of alignment. Prosperity continues when you honor simplicity. Listen before acting. Receive before reaching. Allow before controlling. In this posture, intuition replaces force, and timing reveals itself without demand. The mind learns to cooperate with life instead of negotiating against it. Money responds because resistance has dissolved. Gratitude is no longer a tool, it is your natural language. Choice flows from clarity, not fear. Expansion feels safe because you recognize yourself as its source. Each exchange becomes a circulation of respect, value, and presence. Giving and receiving lose their hierarchy and become mirrors of the same motion. From here, creation is playful. You participate without attachment, confident that nothing real can be lost. Wealth moves through you because you no longer block it with identity or urgency. You trust the rhythm that carries you, and you move with it consciously. Let this understanding remain embodied, not memorized. Return to it whenever noise appears. There is nothing to prove, attract, or fix. You are already inside the current you once sought. The epilogue is simple. Remain available. Stay open. Stay kind to your own expansion. The universe does not require effort to respond to you. It only requires recognition. This recognition is complete. Rest in this knowing daily, quietly, consistently. Let actions emerge from resonance rather than pressure. When uncertainty arises, return to presence. Wealth will recalibrate naturally because you are no longer asking permission to exist fully, as clarity stabilizes and trust remains uninterrupted.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.